Hi, it's Mike once again, back with tip number 26 from our top 100 tips, tools, and life lessons from the Insight One Awakening Heart Seminar. We're going to continue with the theme of choice that we've been speaking about and build off of something I said in the last video around what's happening at the internal level. In the seminar, we look at something called Heavies and Payoffs. And it really looks at an inner dynamic in terms of something that appears that shows up in our life as if we're not making a choice around it, and want to begin to look at maybe we have another level of choice that we're not aware of. And in this particular area, we explore some of the negative experiences or more feelings that many of us have, probably all of us have, particularly the ones that tend to show up with some regularity in your life. So each one of us might have different patterns. You might have some of you might experience some level of depression from time to time, or anxiety from time to time, or guilt about something, or a sense of resentment, or maybe it's something around self-doubt, or anger, frustration. There's a whole series of these things that we refer to as heavies. And I want you to think about what are some of the heavies that you experience with some regularity in your life. Do you find yourself going there? I know that I can go to self-doubt as well as some anxiety. I can get kind of anxious or nervous about things, and I have kind of a tendency to go into self-doubt. And those show up with some regularity. Now, most of us tend to think that those just are who we are or some aspect of life. But we really explore this by looking at, might we be making an unconscious choice to actually have those feelings so that we can get a payoff? What we mean by a payoff is something we actually get as a bit of a reward by going into the negative feeling. And this really requires us to look very deeply, because these patterns tend to go way back to when we're quite young. You know, I had a pattern, I realized that I started that if I was really hard on myself and self-critical, that you wouldn't be able to criticize me more than myself. So it was a way of keeping myself safe. If I could be more critical of myself, you might criticize me less. It was like a safety mechanism. You know, or if my self-doubt was a way to keep me from taking on more responsibility so I could somehow stay in my comfort zone. There's very subtle ways that these work, but the opportunity is to notice what some of these patterns are for you, and then notice, is there a payoff here? You know, do you get some sympathy or attention by going there? Do you get to feel right and self-righteous? When we say there's a payoff, it's not really the kind of thing we want. It's not long-term. It's not really connecting to the loving and the truth of who we are. It gives us a little bit of something to help us feel better. But the problem is it really isn't giving us what we really want. So we tend to go through these patterns over and over again. What we want to reinforce here, though, is if we get enough awareness around this, we have a choice, which allows us to get more empowered so we can choose something other than those patterns, going through the heavy and having the payoff, and going directly for the thing that we really want to have. So again, I want it going on locally at insightseminars.org, and certainly what's happening in your local Insight community. Have a great day.